And we're not going to mention that it's month of the guest. It's month of the story now.
Okay, and
welcome to lunch break, and it's Landon, and this is my good friend.
Friends would walk up to me and just be like, "What the fuck is in your mug?" And I would just tell them, "It's mud."
Sorry, Landon, it's me, Joey. But you said the word friend,
yes,
which reminded me that I have friends. And whenever I'm drinking this dirty brown goop out of my mug, they constantly ask me, "What the fuck is in your mug?"
Yeah.
And I have to stare them dead in the face, say, "It's mud." And they're like, sponsored today.
And they're like, "Yeah, I know it's a mug."
No. And I say, "Mud."
No, I get it's a mug. What's in it, genius?
There's mug. Now what you made me do. Now I said mug like you wanted me to.
I Daffy ducked your beep. I Daffy ducked your eep.
And then the penguin comes in and he goes, "What'd you say about my mudder?" We said mud. You stupid idiot. People don't know that we just recorded for 25 minutes.
I was going to say, what if I brought up the thing that we stopped recording for? We just did it.
I forgot. That leads right into it.
Oh, God. That'd be the best meta joke ever.
That would be so meta. Are you guys talking about me?
No, Meta World Peace. We're not.
Oh, okay.
It's so funny because he looks like he wouldn't sound like that. Meta World Peace. But he does. I mean, he does. You listen to the interviews and you're like, oh, wow.
That's the thing. You hear someone's name and you automatically assume you know exactly what they're going to sound like.
Mm-hmm. It's different.
Doesn't care. It's just the name he was born with.
Also, I think since we've had a lot of listener feedback now that we've done the
father.
Since we've done the video portion of the podcast, people are like, "Oh wow, they look a lot different than what I thought they would," based on their voices. And most people are chiming in and saying, "Oh, it's been 2 people."
That's the biggest thing. When you've got 2 people that are doing excellent work, they used to sound like this, and now they're getting a little older. Hey, I was working on my Donald Jr., which I do all the time.
He's one of the best at doing Donald Jr.
But he's got kind of this. He goes, my
great.
My father, Donald.
Wow.
My father's Donald Trump.
Wow.
My brother's Eric. My mom's Melania. She burns me. That's Donald Jr.
That is
people listening to this are like,
impressive.
Shine on, little children, thou shalt not fall. Because people are just, they're in the chorus of life going, that's the perfect. Joey just did it perfectly. But if you're listening to this, you might have thought, I thought Landon did it perfectly. Right. And then if you're that person's friend, you're like, I thought there was only one host. And watch the video, you'll see.
And then if you're that person's friend, you might come up to him and say, "What the is in your mug?"
It's mud.
I know it's a mug. I'm asking what's the substance in the mug.
It's a mug with 2 G's.
Like the root beer?
Yeah.
But it's not quite as good as Barks because it doesn't quite have the bite. Barks has bite.
I think you guys think we're just laughing and you're like, what's the joke here? What's the inside scoop? Well, guess what? Me and Landon are just 2 peas in a pod.
You might say that he says peas in the pod and I say we're at Grim Grounds. because if you talk about a pea pod is something you might call a grandpa.
Hey, little boy, I'm your pea pod. This is your Grim Gram.
Yeah.
We're going to be your grandparents. And then he's like,
what's in your mug?
It's mud.
I know it's a mug. I said what's in it.
It Landon, it's the month of the story, just like it's been all month.
This has been so fun. And I mean, the whole month, not just this episode. Of course, this episode has been so fun too.
This episode has been, but this month, it's the type of thing where, like we've said every day or every show this month, it's the month of the story. And we get to wax philosophical. We get to be waxing paraffin. We get to wax coconut soy mixture.
Yes. And we wax bikini wax. Kelly Clarkson!
So basically, what I wanted to do was, and I'm going to do something that I also did on the now infamous deleted episode. Not even deleted.
No. You'll hear it sometime.
Yes. It's just obfuscated from you.
Yeah, right now there's a purple haze around it, and you're thinking, and then his Prince in the purple haze, and he's playing his guitar, and it looks kind of like his peenie, and he's doing it behind the shade so he can get away with doing something sexual at the Super Bowl halftime show. Still one of the best performances ever.
What's he doing back there?
He's holding his gourtard near his crotcher, and it looks like he's putting his hand up and down his crotcher.
Gourtard and crotcher? You talking about my grandparents?
Gourtard, what's in your mug?
Freaking murder!
Okay, so it's the month of the story. Joey has a couple. I've been doing all the stories, so it's time for Joey to own up to it. He's got some stories.
The episode, the obfuscated episode, if you tried to look at it now,
Grinch.
It looked like the alien language from Arrival. It'd be a big circle. You're just like, how do I freaking read this? And you'll find out soon that the end is the beginning. Landon, what I wanted to say to you, and I've said this before, but I hurt my wrist this week.
Oh, yes. He hurt his wrist.
I'm just talking about a circle. That's all. Simply just discussing a circle. Just if you think about a circle.
I open at the close.
You had diarrhea so I hurt my wrist this week, so I cannot give Landon the snack across the table that we're sitting at.
Right.
But if you tune in next week, Coca-Cola Starlight will be what we're sipping on. Space flavored soda.
I can't wait. My mouth is watering.
Yeah. Whoa.
See?
Yeah, that's crazy that you can see that on the camera. It's almost too much. Hey, put that away. But what do you do? So we have a lunch. My lunch today is a little light. And I wanted to talk about this if it was the month of the guest, I would have talked to a guest about this. What do you think about dipping crusty ass bread in some olive oil?
Well, you might think I'm crazy, but I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. You go to my favorite part of going to a restaurant, especially a fancy restaurant that gives you the little jug of olive oil, and sometimes they'll pour it in the dish for you, and then they'll crack some pepper in it.
Yeah.
And I know what you're thinking. Sir, this is a Wendy's.
Yeah.
No, but seriously.
This is a Wendy's.
Please. Stop cracking pepper into the soda machine.
Just say when. Just let me know when. Go ahead and tell me to stop whenever you want.
Hey, pal, I'm just going to let you know now. We're going to be here a while.
Why don't I just take the top off? I thought you'd never say that. Hoo ha, jing jing, walla walla, bing bang.
Anytime I suggest that at my other favorite restaurant, Hooters, they get mad. These are all some jokes that you could put into a scenario in which a nasty man was at a restaurant.
Yeah, played, and then probably the person that finally stands up for it for the other workers is Scenario Dawson. She said, "You can't treat my staff like this."
Yes, Scenario Dawson. And I would just like to say the guy playing the part of the nasty man is Jeff Garlin.
But it's a joke. He's just doing it to be funny.
Yes. They're like, none of this is in the script. He's like, that's how I play.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I play. Larry lets me do it.
Well, this is a children's program.
Larry lets me do it.
For all intents and purposes, you have 4.
I'm just a big bowl of joking around.
I know, but there's like a couple preteens on the show. And
well, they're just big bowls of not knowing what's funny.
No, you're right. I just think that maybe you should. Hey, what the is in your mug?
It's a big bowl of mud.
So at my house, I did the olive oil thing. I bought the nice oil.
Extra virgin?
I went to the finest store I could find, and I said, get me some extra virgin olive oil. And they went, then I just dipped that crusty little bread in there.
Mm-hmm.
Great little snack. Just wanted to bring that up, see what you thought, and if we had a guest, see what they thought.
I like that. That's fun. So that was your lunch?
No, yeah, that was my whole lunch. Other than I'm sipping on a little tea here, and I would like, and not the kind where it's like, may I spill this tea for you?
Right. How about, is it the kind that's like,
I pity the fool.
Yeah.
Who comes at little tea like that? I pity the fool who comes to little tea like that. You're going to have to knock me out a little bit if you want me to get on a little plane.
Yeah.
Tea always smells better than it tastes.
Of course.
I got this. What?
At the end of the day, it's just hot water and leaves.
And you don't even get to eat the leaves. You're basically licking the leaf and lapping the water.
Mm-hmm.
The one that licks the leaves laps the water.
Yes.
Think about that as you go forward in your life.
Okay.
This cinnamon vanilla tea I bought, which, come at me. I've never bought it before. It's not like it's my favorite tea. I just thought on a whim, I'll try that out.
Sounds like it would smell good.
Smells great. Smells like cinnamon vanilla. Guess what it tastes like? Nothing.
Hot water. Hot water.
Mm.
Which is fine. You got a sore throat or something like that, it's going to feel better.
Yeah.
But do you believe that tea helps?
No, and I don't have COVID. It's not supposed to help. This is the thing with you people and your cough syrup. Take some cough syrup. It's not going to heal you. It's just supposed to numb the pain because all you people don't want to feel anything anymore.
Yeah.
That's why you smoke on the reefer and you eat the talcum powder.
Yes.
Because you just don't want to feel anything.
And use the baby powder.
Yeah.
And use the, yeah. And it's like, hey, guys, this gives you cancer. And
yeah.
Like, I don't even care. I've got crotch rot that no man should ever know about.
Yeah. And I'm like, yeah, and Red Bull gives you wings, but you don't see me complaining about it. I give tea. I like tea. I probably give it a 5.
You were always eating tea.
I love tea. I love eating tea. Probably gets a 5 on the Andy Richter scale.
Because as low of tea as you have, the
I
more
need it
you
wherever
drink
I can get it. Yeah.
Yeah. So a 0.5 out of 1.
0.5 out of 1 for this one. But if you get a good tea,
that's easily what, 6?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you nom?
Monomonom of Delesia. Monomonom hazelnut cream.
So you're just still going.
I'm still going through the little Italian snacks. This one is kind of that. It's sort of the light pastry puff with a center.
Ladies, eat your Italian snacks. They're filled with cream, and you're gonna like that.
Oh wow, this is gonna be really good.
Yeah, Landon only eats these when my wrist hurts, and he can't hand me one.
Well, there's only one of everything in the care package, so I can't share with you.
Yeah, get 2 care packages. Oh, he took a big bite, and he's like, "Mamma mia, that's a spicy cream-filled pastry."
Oh,
yeah, that's what I wanted in the those Reese's things we tried. That's what you want. You want it to be overflowing.
Pretty good. I give this a 0.8.
Wow.
That's how long this segment should be in the eyes of the listener. Or I guess the ears of the listener. But we could drag it out more.
And we have in the past.
Yeah.
But today I say no, because we're going to ask you, fine listener, what do you want out of our show? Do we stop doing lunch? Do we need a new name for our show that when you type in lunch break, you don't have to scroll through 80 other podcasts named lunch break? That's like lunch break with Dan and Stack.
Yeah.
And it's like, who are these guys? And you click on it, 2.8 million listeners.
Yeah. It's like, oh. And then it's like, all the reviews are like, oh, such great chemistry between these hosts. I didn't even know them before I clicked, but I immediately fell in love.
Not aware of any of their work prior, but I feel like I know these guys and whatever they do next, I'm on board.
Do you think
where's
too,
their Kickstarter?
Right.
And
do you think?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think?
Yeah, and when
it's so weird because we are, of course, at the same table as always, and it's like you almost try to cut me off when I'm trying to get. No.
It's just too much. There's too much going on.
Do you think so? I was talking to someone over the weekend and they kind of looked at me. This is someone who, we're friendly when we're together. We're not, I wouldn't necessarily say friends yet, and I'm hopeful, but this is
your wife?
Yeah. So we were out, we don't see each other much, but when we were out this weekend,
best of luck to you too.
This person looks at me and says, well, actually, no, this person looks at my very own wife and says, do you know when he's joking? And it's one of those where you kind of start to realize, yeah. And I've known this for a while, There's another friend in college that used to say, I can't tell when you're being serious and when you're not. And I'm not sure if you know. Mm-hmm. And they said that to me in all sincerity, and I just kind of laughed and shook my head yes and said, you're right. And I don't talk to that person anymore. But it's one of those where it's, are we too insular, Joey?
This is personally, I have a friend from college that has said this to me multiple times. Mm-hmm. And I've had to preface when I've told him bad news.
Yes.
I've said, this is not a joke.
Right.
I had to say, I know you're going to laugh when I say this.
Yeah.
And then I figured maybe that's a problem. If when I say, if I'm going to say something that's bad news, say I had to put my dog to sleep. And if you say, by the way, this is not a joke, then you go, uh-oh, maybe there's a problem here.
Yeah.
And then who was I talking to? Oh, the one, what about this guy that we worked with? He's not going to listen to this.
Okay.
Guy doesn't own a computer. Well, he does. A big one, in fact. But we don't want to get into that. There's no size envy here.
No.
I don't care about the size of your computer. It's the
the gigabytes that you squee on. What?
What the f- is in your mug?
My mug?
Your mug. Yeah, that's what I said.
Yeah, mud.
So this guy that Landon and I worked with when we started the eponymous, is that the right word?
I think so.
This very show,
lunch
break. Landon had jumped ship, and he said, "I'm out of here." He said, "I'm out of here." He was like the cabin boy.
Yeah,
Chris Elliott
or Penguin.
Yeah, and we all laughed and laughed.
I'm out of here to go get some goils.
A new guy came in, and this guy that I've been working with for a year at this point. Oh God, and did we get close? But he goes, you know how Joey acts? And the other guy goes, yeah. He goes, where you don't know if he's joking or not, and this is how he acts all the time. And he goes, yeah. He goes, now imagine you had to work with two of them that only understand each other. Can you imagine how unbearable that would be? And I'm sitting there listening to this thinking, is he talking about me? And the mail guy? Because the mail guy only comes in.
Yeah.
He'll stop. He pops in the door. He'll hand me the mail and he says, is this yours? And I typically say no, even if it is.
Right.
Just it's a bit we have going. So I was like, is that what he's talking about? He's talking about Landon.
Yeah, joke by me. Well, this is something that people have said for a long time because, we used to work in that, what we call a coffee store.
God, imagine if they still call them that.
And,
people lose their minds.
Yeah.
People in the DMV zone of Portland where everything's free now and the points don't matter.
Yeah.
God, imagine there being a coffee store in there. People lose their minds.
They get crazy and they get a large. They say, can we, we threw away all the other rules. Can I call this a frickin' large instead of a venti?
Mm-hmm.
Can we finally just call it what it is?
Now that gives me something to smile about. So what was your point? You were making a story.
People used to complain when they had to work with us.
Yeah.
Not complain. They'd kind of just say, we like working with you guys separately because we can't get a word in edgewise and we don't get what you're talking about. And it's fun to kind of just listen to you talk, but I don't feel included.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, hey, you're supposed to be working. You're not supposed to be included on the funny conversation that we're having as we're not working. You're supposed to be working.
Also, if there's something on the menu called a chocolate chip frappuccino, and somebody comes up and says, a chocolatey chippy frappy, and I look to the person I'm working with and I say, sure, one chalky chippy frappy, and they don't look back at me and laugh.
Yeah.
If they just look back at me and go, yeah, that's what they ordered.
Yeah.
Guess what? You're not on my team. And I would say that Landon and I, the energy between us is vibes.
We vibe hard.
Yeah, we have vibes. We have kind of, whether you say that we have camp vibes or good vibes only.
We're vibey.
Yes. Yeah. And I'm done with, I'm honestly, I'm sick of the bad vibes.
Well, good vibes or get out.
Yeah. I don't want any fake friends with the bad vibes.
As far as I'm concerned, GVGO. Mm-hmm. Good vibes or, we don't mention that one in the acronym.
Mm-hmm.
GVGO. Good vibes or get out.
Mm-hmm.
You put that on a shirt or something.
I'll think. Okay, we'll make a shirt that just says lunch break : good vibes or get out.
GVGO.
Okay, lunch break GVGO, and it's just a picture of our faces.
But put it on the back of the shirt.
And on the front, there's a picture of Chucky, and it says underneath that, "Do you want to play a game?"
Yeah. But he's holding, instead of a knife that he's holding a mug.
Yeah, and it says, first it's him saying, what the is in your mug? And he's answering himself. Did you say mug?
Okay, and be honest. Be honest. Will you buy this shirt? Because we have to make it now. That's how these podcasts do this type of thing. They're like, that has to be a shirt. And then they come out with the shirt. Mm-hmm. But I've never seen anyone wearing a podcast t-shirt.
Well, I think that's why, like Pod Swag, this website, yes. I think that's why eventually things just become like all $5.
Yeah. So like
no one wants this $50 shirt that's just a caricature of a guy's face that no one knows.
Right.
We got to get rid of these things. We got to make room for new stock.
Yeah.
So Landon was telling a very dark story about how, if you're just joining us, about how he's almost like the comedian in a Twilight Zone episode.
Yeah, I'm laughing, but no one's in on the joke. Mm-hmm. It's that part in Bo Burnham's Inside where he asks the question, does anybody want to joke when no one's laughing in the background?
Wow.
And you just kind of have to ask yourself as you're watching that, no one made you do this.
Yeah, that's when I turned it off.
I mean, I get it, but no one asked you to do this.
I get it, but aren't you just being kind of dramatic? And I wrote that to him.
Mm-hmm.
And to Netflix.
Yeah.
There's the thumb up, there's the thumb down, and then there's the he's being kind of dramatic.
Yeah.
Click. Did someone say click? Oh, Sandman, that's too much.
And it's like next time I'll sit on my couch and watch you next time. And it's like, hey, guy, you did this.
I didn't make you do it. I'm watching it on my couch because you made it, and I respect you as an artist and as a friend.
And a friend. I saw him once. I nodded to him.
He didn't even see you.
And of course, this is the type of thing where if someone listens to the soundbite, they think we don't like it. When in fact, of course, it's the greatest piece of media that's come out in the last 50 years at least.
Only thing that's come out in the last 50 years that I like.
Joey, you've got stories. Tell them.
So Landon says that people don't know if he's joking or not. Well, let me tell you a story about... let me check my notes really quick.
Wow. Okay, I'll check my notes too.
You know what? I don't even need to check my notes. And of course, I'm saying that to kill time.
He's checking his notes. He says, I don't need to check my notes. He's looking at his notes right now.
Got it. I got it.
Okay.
I don't need to look anymore.
Okay.
It's like when they do the Rubik's Cube competition.
Yes.
And they say, okay, you need to, you have to look at it and then you have to set it back down. So they're like,
right.
Okay, got it. 2
wow.
blues.
Yes,
guys. I had props. I have props. First of all, Landon, props to you.
Oh, thank you. And to you.
Thank you. Vibes. I want to tell you a story about a little Benny Hill situation that went down. That's the one I'm talking about, girls. Why don't you come down to 44 below club?
That's a spoiler.
Imagine you are the Penguin Man, Colin Farrell. And we're not going to get into the movie because some people just don't care about Batman. If you don't care about Batman, I don't care. This has nothing to do with that either way.
Right.
If you don't like Batman, great. If you do like Batman, great. But if you are Colin Farrell in that big suit you have to wear, and HBO comes to you and says, great news. We just signed you to do 10 episodes of The Penguin. I would lose my mind because you have to wear that every day to set. Just sit in that thing.
Right.
This heavy, sweaty balls.
Sweaty balls, very funny. Makes me think of would they do a Grinch miniseries now? Like Jim Carrey's live action The Grinch comes out and they're like, okay, we need more of this. Let's do 10 episodes. And he has to go through the 12 hours or whatever it was where he has to get put in the latex suit. That's just kind of...
Uh-huh.
And what else, Joey? You love this part of the story.
Yes, a SWAT team had to teach him how to be cool.
Yeah. So anyway, your story, and this is the month of the story.
Landon, the other day at work, now I say the other day, but it's the month of the story, so I've been holding on to this one for a few weeks now, just because we've had other stories the past weeks. If you go back, you'll know that, and you'll know that it's the month of the story. I was outside doing something nefarious. Okay. I was, don't want to talk about it. It has to do with a recycling bin. But I go outside and I'm looking at the recycling bin and I'm just thinking some stuff. And I hear a little noise and I turn and the neighbors behind where I work, because my business that I work in is a house. So behind the business I work in is another house. Mm-hmm. So in this house, I look down and there's a window into the basement and there's like this bird, a bird I've never seen before. Is it a baby crow? Is it some sort of sparrow? I don't know. But it flies up and it's looking out the window. I'm like, this bird's stuck in the basement. So I send a picture of it to my boss and say, there's a bird stuck in this basement, because my boss, and I can say this now because pretty soon this will not be the situation. But the boss that I work for, he owns this house behind the house that I work in. Any one of us could be in jail at any point in this story. Because there's something nefarious going on here with the houses and the owning and the what's it. So the bird is in the basement. I send him the picture. He says the WTF. He speeds up out of nowhere like 2 minutes later. I'm like, where were you? He speeds up in his car. I say, there's a bird in your basement. We look around. There's no way for this bird to get in or out. And he says, that room is padlocked down there. I go, interesting. And he goes, well, maybe it got in somehow, yada, yada. I'm just like, well, clearly, here's the issue. It can't get out. So we need to do some reconnaissance. And he says, well, there's some nurses sleeping in there. And I said, okay. So
should you tell everyone that it's a rental house?
Yes.
It's not just rental. Yeah.
It's not just a house that some nurses are sleeping in.
Yeah.
These nurses of their own volition decided to rent this house to sleep in it. As one does.
Yeah.
Look, you either own your house or you rent a house. You go to Arona and you rent the stuff. You go to Rent-A-Center, you rent the stuff.
Yes.
Or you own the place. They don't do the third one.
Right.
So he says, well, we can't go in there. They're asleep. The next day comes. Turns out this bird got stuck to a sticky glue trap that some monsters left out to catch rats on it.
Yeah.
So my boss goes down there, gets it out of the basement. It's squawking. It's stuck to this piece of paper. All you can do is feel bad. He puts it into a blue, what would you call this? A blue container of some sort, a cooler, like a styrofoam container, the cheap one you get at the gas station when you go into What's It.
Yeah.
He puts it in there. He sets it behind the building. He comes up. He comes inside and says, he's got the bird in the thing. Hey, you saw what I almost did. Uh-huh. He said he's got the bird in the container and we need to go out and figure out how to get it out. So I look it up and I say, it says we need hot canola oil or warm canola oil to get the bird off the sticky stuff. And he's like, well, let's go check it out. Maybe it's just stuck to some of its feathers. We'll see what's going on. So we grab a big towel. I put my gloves on and we got to go get this bird, help this bird out. We walk outside, not 5 minutes maybe from when he came inside. We go outside and walk behind the building and he just stares at an empty wall. He just stares at nothing and looks back at me and looks back and then looks back at me and he just says, it's gone. And I was like, what do you mean it's gone? I was like, there's no cooler. There's nothing. It's just gone. So we walk around these two houses, walk around this area of the block. Can't find any evidence that there was ever a cooler. So I'm in my head thinking, well, he probably killed it and just told me he saved it so that I feel good about the situation.
Sure.
And we're like, did it fly away? I'm like, it didn't fly away with a cooler stuck to its foot. So we go inside and pull up the footage. As we are pulling up the video footage, the surveillance footage, and we're going through slowly, going through the whole day or whatever up to this point. You got to go backwards in time. We find the spot. And as that's happening, I'm like, just keep watching the footage. I go outside and I'm talking to someone on the phone. I say, craziest thing happened. Mm-hmm. I say, betrothed. You have to hear me. You have to believe me.
Yeah.
As I'm telling the story in the phone about how it's just gone because I'm losing my mind, I walk behind the building and there sits a blue cooler where I just was. And I said, it's back. She said, what? And I said, I have to go. She said, are you okay? And I hang up. I go back inside. The guy watching the video footage says, I saw it. As my boss, he sets the cooler down and he walks around and comes inside. The neighbor comes out of their house, the side neighbor, not the nurses. They are asleep. Do not even bring them into this. She walks out and looks over, and then you see her go over and take the cooler as he walks inside. So she takes it and then brings it back to wherever she goes. The camera turns off when the motion stops.
Right.
Gone. So then you see us, two dorks, walk outside and waddle around trying to figure out what happened. And then we come inside. As we come inside, she comes out of her house with the cooler and sets it back on the ground. And then you see me waddle out on the phone, go and just look behind the building and stare at this empty cooler with no bird in it. And then I come inside and then she drove away So then I come inside and we just don't know what's going on. So all day I'm thinking about this bird. I'm like, did she eat it? You know, you watch Texas Chainsaw Massacre, you're like, these people are just hungry
freaks.
for, it's basically free food.
Okay, so can I ask a question?
Yeah.
The neighbor, so the lady came out, took the cooler.
Yes. With the bird in it.
With the bird in it, and then brought back out the empty cooler.
There's an empty cooler with something soft
but then drove away.
So she puts the cooler back and then goes to her car and drives away.
But she was in her house.
Yes. As far as I can tell, she took the cooler to her house.
Okay.
And then, because you can see her drive her car away after this. And when she brings it back, it's empty.
Right.
No sign of a struggle.
But something soft in it, you said.
Something soft in it, which I come to find out is a diaper. So then I go, okay, maybe she did not kill this bird, but there is a diaper in the box here. So
she ate it and pooped it out.
So all day goes by. I think about this strange situation, this Benny Hill-esque situation.
Yes.
And the wheels are just churning in my head of like, when I get on SNL, this is going to be the best sketch they've ever seen. Until, of course, Mom Hole or whatever. So,
yeah.
Finally, at the end of the day, I see her pull her car back up and I say, clock me out. And I run out there and then I look at the cooler and I can't just say, hey, I saw you on the security footage.
Right.
So I go, hey, did you see a bird in here? Was there a bird? Did you happen to see a bird come out of this? And she's like, oh, yeah, I took it because someone set it behind your building. And I thought they were just going to kill it or let it die. And I was like, yeah, as you probably would think that if someone sets it by the trash can.
Sure.
Turns out she's a vet.
Wow.
And she was going to her vet job. So she's not going to do anything about it. Or wait. Scratch that. You know what? Erase this episode too.
Okay, let's start over.
Hold on. Yeah. She's not going to not do anything about it.
Thank you.
So she takes it and she goes, oh, yeah, I got it off. I just used some olive oil. And I went, oh. And I said, that's what I said. And I said, did you know about the thing with the bread? And then she said, yeah, it got off and it flew away. It's fine. Because I said, thank you. And I said, I promise we weren't trying to kill it. We came out with a towel. And she goes, oh, I'm sorry. And I was like, well, no, it's fine. We were going to do what you did is probably better.
Yeah.
Than me trying to grab it with a towel. And then she just kind of acted weird. Like maybe she doesn't quite believe that we weren't going to just kill it.
Yeah.
They said, no, we weren't going to kill it. We were going to help it.
We were going to put a towel around its head and squeeze it until its eyes popped out.
Was gonna. Because then 2 days later, when a car runs into the building next to her house, and my boss comes out screaming about how it was a police chase and they shot the person and they're dead and they're getting a sheet out to cover the dead body. And then we realized that none of that happened and someone just crashed their car and that they got hurt.
Sure.
But she comes out on her porch because we're all watching and she just kind of looks back at us and kind of makes a face at me. Not as if we just had this nice talk about the bird.
Right.
But as if there's all those weirdos that tried to kill a bird. That stuck it to a piece of sticky. Now I have to go out of my way to make her understand that I'm not a monster.
Yeah. Well, before you maybe are not in that work environment any longer, you should just put the footage on a little flash drive and leave it on her porch. But here's my counterpoint. Maybe a little devil's advocate for you. She ain't a vet.
Right.
She spun a yarn so tight around your little tiny pea head that you started thinking you looked a fool when in fact it was her who did. I mean, what? She's just sitting there watching.
Yeah, she just happens to come out at the right time. She just happens to be a vet. I'm starting to hear the saw music. She
knew that bird was in there. She was waiting for someone to take care of the bird, bring it out, She saw that it was her chance. She went and grabbed the bird.
Yep.
What? You guys didn't notice that a bird was just flapping away?
Exactly.
Where'd she let it out? She took it into her house, got the trap off of its leg.
She's the Carrie Elways of this story.
Wouldn't you have seen at some point?
Would I? Peg leg.
When she opens the back door to let the bird fly out again.
That's where'd the bird go? She got it off.
Exactly.
Okay. She let it. She helped.
This isn't one of like. It's not like at Sea World where they have to do something to the dolphin,
right? To help it procreate.
Yeah, it's like, oh, we have to start it off. No,
no. Yeah, you don't have to do that. You want to. Just say it. Just you can normalize it.
Say it. Don't spray it.
Well. So yes, then right as we're outside walking around and I mean, clearly I walked around in their backyard because I thought someone has to have taken this thing.
Yes.
And if I'm just out there long enough, just long enough, maybe, just maybe, someone will see me and come out and explain what they did to my little burb.
Yes. And you said it was a bird unlike any you've ever seen or something like that. Didn't you say that?
Yeah. And that's the other thing. I want to ask her what kind of bird it is.
Yeah. Because
I didn't get to it. She said time's up and went inside.
Maybe she recognized that the bird was a special breed. It was kind of an Ace Ventura situation. She saw that it was spatial.
Yeah.
She stole the bird.
And then she's going to probably give us some nice plates. She's like, oh, I made these plates. I thought you guys would like them. And we were like, oh, that's very nice. This is nice clay. And she goes, it's not clay. It's guano. And I'm licking it. And I'm like,
yeah.
Can I tell you about Hot Sauce Guy?
Sure.
So helping a customer out at work. And he's got his hands in his little pockets like a little freak. And he says we do the exchange. I don't want to talk about it because my job is by and large nefarious. But he's in there for about 5 minutes or so. He's chatting it up with me, and I go, yeah. All right, we'll call you soon. Bye. He leaves this famous video business I work at, and he stops in the doorway and he turns back to me, hands in his pocket, makes his way almost out the door, and he says, "You like hot sauce?" And at this point, for the podcast and for my own insatiable curiosity, I have to say, yeah, sure.
Yeah. I just want to point out that Joey does like hot sauce. He likes different sauces. I've been to his house. I've seen inside his refrigerator. There are untold sauces in there I've never heard of. I've never seen before. This man has so many sauces. I think he made some of them up on his own and put a Frico label on it. And like, there's one that's like asphalt. It's like
with
tastes like a street. Yeah. There's just like pictures of guys from like stock photos.
Yeah, it's my Men at Work asphalt.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so I am a sauce.
Lying.
No, I'm not I am a sauce man. I'm not lying, but it's a situation that it's one of those situations where you could pretend to not. You go, not really, and just like it could be over there.
No, I have IBS. You just say that.
It's just I got thin lining on my stomach. I'm this close to an ulcer. And I show him. I put my stomach right up to his face.
Keep going on. Like, no, honestly, like I have rectal bleeding.
Mind.
I bleed from my anus almost every day.
I gotta go.
And it's all because of this. Yeah, it's like a thin lining. My doctor says.
Well, just thought I'd ask.
No, I appreciate it, and I would, but.
That's all right. I'm gonna head out. Ding.
I would, and would I.
Put it, big leg. So he says, you like hot sauce? And I say, yeah, sure. And out of his pocket, he slowly pulls out a vial of hot sauce that says, Sauce Daddy. Trinidaddy. It's his Trinidaddy sauce. And he goes, make my own hot sauce. It's got 70 different types of hot sauce, all kinds of hot sauce. It's the best hot sauce you can find. He just goes into, this is how I knew him walking out the door was fake. Because he goes into this spiel and he tells me 2 stories that are supposed to be uplifting. And he's got all the beats planned out. He's like, took my hot sauce to a hot sauce convention. Kansas City, Missouri, 2015. The man came around to judge my hot sauce. He took one look at me. He said, John, you got 5 hot sauces here. They are all ready to be put in stores. I've never said that to anyone. And I said, Rick, what would you give me? A to F, what would you give me? And he looks at all his trophies that he's given out over the years, and he says, A-. And I said, A-. Rick, is that good or bad? And he says, John, I've never given anyone more than a C. And I'm just like, this is not something, and this is fake. Because then he says, the FDA, with the way the FDA is, I just can't get them in the store. And I'm like, I have seen stuff in stores that shouldn't be in stores. I bought Big Mo Cason's barbecue sauce.
That's the one I was thinking of.
It's a guy that just lives in Iowa, I think. They just sell it at the store.
Yeah.
It's great, but there's no FDA approval for Big Mo's sauce. So
there's something really off about this guy's.
And he's something about how he knows that if this guy took his sauce, there'd be consistency issues, texture issues, something that they could hammer out for him. And the guy says, none of those. You don't have any of those. So he tells me about all his hot sauces and how this is, I'm in for a treat. It's got the plastic on the top, so you know that it's sealed.
Sure.
And he's got a guy that works for him that has a silver spoon, a platinum spoon, and a golden spoon. He was born with all of those in his mouth.
Wow.
And now he works with this guy to try to get his sauce out on the market.
Seems like it would be easy.
Yeah. Turns out it's a lot harder than you think for someone that has such a great hot sauce. So I had it at work. I had it at my desk. And I said, do we try this on the podcast? Now, Landon is known to just take random pills that people give him. So I said, the sauce probably isn't going to be a huge deal, but maybe this guy's a freak. It just takes one of these guys to say he's got hot sauce and he's put what's it in it. And now I'm laying on the ground in a pile of my own foam. Yeah. So it sits there and I go, it's got the plastic on it. But he seemed nice. He seemed like he genuinely just likes his sauces. So I cracked it open one day.
Yes.
It's good. It wasn't hot.
It's good.
But it was good. It's a good sauce. But where's the spice? And I think he came in because as he left, he said, donations welcome. And I was like, well, I'm not paying. No. I didn't ask for you to come in here.
Exactly.
Give me your sob story, your little Airbud story about your hot sauce.
Mm-hmm.
But I tried it and it's good. But I don't know how to find the guy. I looked up Sauce Daddy on my work computer and now I have to burn all my hard drives.
Right.
And then I looked up Trinidaddy. Same thing. You'd be surprised.
Mm-mm.
You can't look up Trinidaddy or Sauce Daddy at work.
No. And I wish you would have asked me before because I have tried that and it has not gone over well for me. But, to each their own.
Yeah. And that guy, I wish him the best of luck.
Oh,
with
absolutely.
His sauces. If I saw him again, I think maybe I did, but someone else helped him, and I was just like, I think that's the guy.
Yeah.
But what am I gonna do? He wants money from me. I tried his sauce. He's like, you cracked the seal.
Yeah.
Yeah, you told me to.
That'll be 15 bones. You're like dollars? He's like, no, 15 of your bones.
How do you think I make the Bone Daddy sauce?
Splash.
All right. Well, I have a little story of my own.
It's the month of the story.
So
you don't have anything.
Lunch today at the Bosnian restaurant on 5th. Small group of 3, 4, including me at the bar. Bosnian music coming from the TV on the wall. Steady stream of Bosnian women in each video. They're dressed in lingerie or swimsuits mainly, although fully accessorized in heels and jewelry and makeup. These women are here for one main purpose, to attract men. It's still like that in some countries. My attention was on the TV much of the time, and I soaked in the atmosphere of music, beautiful dark-haired Bosnian women, Christmas lights along the ceiling, and the steady conversation next to me in a language I don't understand. I feel like I'm fitting in this group somewhat, and I feel accepted. No one talked to me until I ordered my food, goulash with mashed potatoes and beef, and an order of sausage with rice and eggs. Your typical side dish. And ice water and a glass of red wine. After I finished, the cook sat down and asked how it was, and I said, "Great. You're a great cook." He said, "Thank you." After taking a vape, I saw a no smoking sign on the wall and asked the bartender if it was okay to vape, pointing to the sign. One of the Bosnian men near me spoke to me in English and said, "Yeah, no problem. You can do that." I said, "Thank you." At least some of them were at least somewhat bilingual or more lingual. I think my Burt Reynolds stash is helping me feel comfortable, giving off a slight European vibe. You know, Burt Reynolds. I came here for the food and the atmosphere, and I got a meal of it. Only one video played on the TV had no half-naked women. A video featuring 2 accordion players dressed as cowboys. I watched and wondered how they hit all the correct buttons on the side so fast without looking. Much practice and developed skill. Worth featuring in a music video. I thought of how American videos have changed. American videos in the 80s and 90s used to feature more scant-clad women, and rap videos still do. I ordered a Bosnian coffee and was served with whipped cream and a shake of sugar. Continued below. I mean, I tasted it, and it was very bitter. More bitter than the other times I've had it. I think the other times they had already poured sugar in the coffee. I poured sugar into my coffee, and it was much sweeter. Life is bitter, and you can cover up the bitterness with sweetness. War is coming. Ukrainians. The Nazis on the border do not represent the Ukrainian people. Putin is at the beginnings of war with these Nazis, not the Ukrainians. He was pushed into this by the globalists and neoliberals and the lying propaganda news. He's bombed cities where pharmaceutical testing was being done. We won't be invaded by troops. If the war expands, it will be nuclear. This place has great homemade bread also.
Wow. That's a great story, Landon.
Just another Wednesday for your old buddy Landon.
Mm-hmm. Can I say one thing?
Sure.
Bye.
Bye.
You're listening to the Prescribed Films Podcast Network, home to hundreds of hours of free podcast entertainment. The shows on this network all have a common goal, providing you with the best discussions about movies and other forms of entertainment media. The PFPN hopes to fill your earholes with audio joy. Visit our website with links to all the other amazing shows at www.thepfpn.com. Thanks for listening.